Hello, and welcome to the Success Showcase. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin from the Modern Observer Group, and with me, as always, is Chip Januszewski from the Happiness and Success GPS. Chip, how you doing this week?
Great. How you doing, Eric?
Doing fantastic.
I'm going out to get my turkey right after we get off the phone. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yes, as we're getting ready for the Thanksgiving holiday, and always a reminder that you need to be grateful for what you have. And today we're going to talk a little bit about keeping what you have under control. And we're going to do this by talking about business software and business processes that you can adapt to your home life to make things easier. When you think about it, we have a lot of the same responsibilities at home that we do at work. And yet we don't use these tools. We tend not to make processes at home. And yet doing so can make your life so much easier.
Absolutely. And it can, obviously it can sync what you do between work and family a whole lot easier too. I mean, one of the first things that I think about that we've talked about many, many times is time management. And that calendar that you put together for work should also include everything that you're doing at home and for personal development work. And, we're going to be talking about different things that way, but managing your time for home and work in a calendar is a very, very good place to start.
All right. The calendar is one of the simplest tools we have. We've all got it on our phone, computer. I'm sure somebody sends you one at the beginning of every year, whether it's a bank or we actually get one from the Chinese restaurant. We all have calendars, but using them to schedule our time is so valuable. And yet we tend not to do it for home. And it doesn't have to be just for major things. Yes, most people put on the calendar, hockey practice and ballet class and places you have to be. But we also have these things that we have to get done that we tend to leave off the calendar. Taking out the garbage. Generally, trash day comes once or twice a week, depending on your pickup schedule. You've got to drag the trash cans out to the curb so they can be picked up. How many of us forget about this until, 10 o'clock the night before and suddenly go, oh, I've got to take the garbage out.
Or until you hear the truck going by the next morning.
Right.
Yeah. And it's in the calendar too. I mean, one of the things about business, obviously the business is a financial entity. So you're going to be doing your budgeting. You're going to be making deposits. You're going to be making receivables calls, balancing your checkbook and so on and so forth. But a lot of people at home don't look at their finances. And so they fall behind in different things like payments and credit card payments and so on and so forth. And just by having software like Quicken instead of QuickBooks and other things where you can manage automatic payments. And I mean, obviously this is a lot of stuff that you can do online, but just having a quick calendar of when different payments are due during the month so that you can track that and making sure that you do your bank reconciliations every month in your checkbook is so important to keep the finances going for families, because a lot of families have trouble with that.
Absolutely. I mean, at the bare minimum, put when bills are due on your calendar. Or better still, don't put when they're due. Put a week before they're due that you need to pay the bill. If you do want to get, more in depth, you can use Quicken for personal finances. Or if you really want to get in depth, you can use QuickBooks the same way you would for your business. Use it for your personal life. So you can manage your savings, your checking, your investment accounts. And then anytime you want, you can pull up the software and get an overview of what you have.
Yeah, it's very, very powerful. And all you need to do to set it up is to set up your accounts and to just make sure you're entering things as they come in and then doing your reconciliations. and the whole thing's going to work for you. And just as you said, you can dial up all different types of reports for a lot of different things by doing that. But the most important thing is to set up a system to do things and to track your finances.
Right. And, most of us think of our finances in terms of accounts. But using something like QuickBooks, probably Quicken too, I'm less familiar with Quicken, you can actually set things up where, yes, you've got the balances for your actual bank accounts or your investment accounts, but you can put together virtual accounts that you are reserving money for. So you can track how much money you've got saved up for your vacation, how much money you've got saved up for college. And these don't necessarily have to be physical separate accounts. You can just have this all tracked in the software. So we wanted to go on this trip, but we're falling short. We've got to save a little extra money. Or, hey, we saved more money than we thought we did. We could have even better a vacation. So by tracking these things, it keeps you up to date. Unfortunately, so many people have such a fear of their finances that they sort of think, well, if I don't look at it, it can't be bad.
Yeah, as long as the check's not coming back bounced. But
right.
We talked a little bit earlier about bill paying and so on and so forth, and it could be just as simple as having a little tickler file, or even what my mom, who's 87 years old, does. She has a big gold paper clip where you just have all the things sitting there that are coming up within the next couple of weeks with dates on it. And whatever system you have, if you have that right in front of you and you're looking at that, she every Wednesday of the week, she looks at her bills. I'm checking on her now because she's older and so on and so forth. And we just had a little thing with her. So I tried to get more on top of things, but she's got a pretty good system going. And whatever works for you, if it's a manual thing where you have to have the envelopes with the bills in them right in front of you, that's great. We talked about having tickler files where you actually set up a folder system for every day of the month and then every month of the year. And you can stick things in there so if they just pop up in front of you. But regardless, come up with a system that works for you. And you can not only do this for your bills, but if you are making those deposits towards your vacation account, or you're doing this, or you're doing that, you can put all of your things that you need to do for your personal life in there. So with me being a home business, I have a combination of both in mind.
Right. A tickler file actually works really well for something like this because assuming you're still getting paper bills mailed to you, when they come in, you put it in the correct tickler file for the day you have to pay it. And then when that comes up that day, there it is. There's your reminder. Take care of it.
Yeah, another good thing that you can use if you're into spreadsheets is you can list what your normal monthly expenses are on a spreadsheet and the day of the month that they have to be paid. So you have that at your fingertips anytime you want also, and you can do some planning. You may even want to print that out and have that in front of you so you know when to plan for things ahead of time. But again, the big message is come up with some type of a system to make sure that you are paying things on time and budgeting properly to do that.
Right. Most spreadsheet programs actually have templates that will help you put together a home budget. And that's something so many people fail to do. Their paycheck comes in, they buy whatever they need, they're living paycheck to paycheck. But if you actually track what you're spending and budget, you have a much better chance of getting out of that living paycheck to paycheck situation. Because there's always something you can see, even if it's just, oh my God, look how much my cable bill is eating up. A couple of years ago, we took a look at our home finances, and we realized we were paying like $180 a month, essentially for 6 channels that we actually watched. We had tons more and all the stuff that came with this package, but we really only watched about 6 channels. So we canceled our television, got ourselves a Roku box, got a couple of subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, Sling. Now we've still got all of the channels we used to watch. Plus, we've got movies and things from Netflix and Hulu and things like that. And we're paying over $100 less a month.
Yeah, I just did the same thing with Roku. One of the nice things about Roku, I mean, if you have a Consumer Reports account, that's a good place to go in and look at things. But Roku ranked very, very highly. And the neat thing about that is all you do is you put up anywhere from like $30 to $90 for a controller, and the rest of it's free. You sign up for. I have YouTube TV, which costs me $40 a month, as opposed to what DirecTV used to cost me, which would have been going up to about $140, $150 a month, very, very quickly. And there's a lot of different things to do that as far as your options there. But by tracking this and having it on paper, especially on a spreadsheet or whatever, you'll be able to see the trends where if something is X this month and it goes up substantially next month, or if it's going up incrementally and you have that in front of you, you're going to see these different patterns. And then you can start budgeting accordingly and making decisions like you did a couple of years ago to correct things and make things more applicable to what you're really, really doing and paying for what you're really, really doing instead of all the bells and whistles that you don't use.
Right. And budgeting is becoming more and more important because so many of us now have services on automatic bill pay where the money just goes right from your account, it pays the bill, you don't have to think about it. But when you don't think about it, you also don't realize how much you're spending on things. So it's really important to, whether it's a spreadsheet or Quicken or QuickBooks, to get a handle on your household finances. What are you spending? And are you spending intelligently?
And very often, important if you're using credit cards to pay for things, it's very, very important for you to look at the monthly statements coming in. Number one, for accuracy, to make sure that there's nothing on there that doesn't belong there, but to take a look at the trends. And if some of these cards, they'll actually track that for you and give you pie charts and so on and so forth, broken out by the type of expenditure they think you're making. But these automatic things, which are more and more and more, because if we're talking about business side of things, the more people you have automatically paying you every month, whether they're doing anything or not, is great for your own business, but it's not for the consumer.
All right. And it's very important that you watch these things because mistakes happen. And if you don't catch them, you could be paying hundreds of dollars a month that you shouldn't be paying. So you really do need to watch these things. And the other thing that when you're watching your budget and you start understanding how you're spending money is that it becomes much easier to save money. And sometimes it's just a tiny step. We cut our food bill by quite a lot because what we would do is, we'd run over to the local supermarket, pick up what we needed, bring it home. Well, we started looking at what we were spending. And we realized if we went one town over to a different store, we could save a lot of money on the exact same items. So we're not losing anything. We're still getting the same things we always did, but we're paying less for them. And you need to watch things like that.
Yeah, just like you would in the business world. The services go up there too, and that's a really, really good tip to take from that. And speaking of the business world, we talk a lot about business planning and strategic planning for businesses, and we also talk a lot about personal strategic planning for our own lives. And family planning is a big part of that. I mean, if you do have a spouse and children, it's really, really important, and it's a great exercise too to bring you together, to just sit down and kind of go over what the priorities are in your life, the things that you like to do, and start planning